hopefully. Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Lily Cunning. Thank you for coming to the Natural Living series here at Cancer Support Community. I'm going to be your host today for building a natural medicine cabinet, and I'm just pulling up my presentation now. So there we go. I'm gonna ask everyone to mute themselves just so that background noise doesn't interfere. So we can go ahead and get started. I think so. Whoever is in Angie's spot needs to make me a co-host so that I can spotlight myself. I think they left the room. um, once
No, they
they
didn't. I'll drop off this one.
Can you make me a co-host before you do?
Yeah, is there?
What you do is you just go to my
Yeah,
team
the
and
problem is I think there's somebody in the room, so I'm up on two screens right now. So
sure, but
give me,
you're host and co-host, so you
yeah,
can definitely make me a co-host from either account. I'm not sure.
I must have to do it from the room. I'll be right back. I'll do it
Okay.
from over there.
All right. Sorry about the delays, people. In the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I used to live in Columbus, where most of you probably are. And I had a brick and mortar store there called Boline Apothecary for several years. I'm an herbalist by trade. I've also trained in Chinese medicine and energy medicine. And I live now in Tiffin, Ohio, north of Columbus, in a small college town. And I have a small clinical practice. I have Haven Herbs, which I formulate for. That's my sort of ready off the shelf kind of remedies that people can get. And I teach classes. I teach classes for Cancer Support Community every month, but also in person classes and online courses that I have developed. Hopefully, I
signed in. It wanted a password.
You're good to go.
Okay, I need to be, oh, good. There we go. All right, so let me spotlight myself real quick so that way everybody can see me. All right, and I'm going to share my screen.
Like, awesome.
All right, hopefully everybody can hear that and I can hear you folks in the room. So you might want to mute yourselves. So welcome to Building a Natural Medicine Cabinet. This
Hi, my name is Susan Shooter, and I have a reservation in
uh,
November for the Modern Quilt Guild retreats. And
folks in
I'm
Cancer
wondering if I
Support
can
Community, can
bring
we
it
mute
to you,
ourselves?
just so she gets there before I do. She can check in.
Okay, hold on. Really sorry about this, folks. I need everyone to mute themselves.
Not funny.
Oh my
Can I
god.
give you my name?
Not listening. Hold on. Let me mute everybody myself manually. All right. I think everybody's muted now. Oh my goodness. What a rough start this morning. Okay. So today we're going to talk about building a natural medicine cabinet and what common things Americans have in their medicine cabinets, both remedies and body care, and how to replace them with natural alternatives that don't have some of the toxic load that many of our medicine cabinets contain. So, um, I want to put out there that these natural remedies are just as or even more effective than the things that you have in your current medicine cabinet. And most current medicine cabinets just deal with symptom management. Oh, I have a headache. I'm going to take a pill. Oh, I need to brush my teeth, so I'm going to use toothpaste. Um, but herbal medicine, when it's practiced well, is getting to root causes in addition to treating symptoms. And that's really what you want, right? Because if you are constantly having to take medicine because you're not getting to the root cause and actually eliminating a problem, then you're taking on more medicine than you actually need. So we're going to talk a little bit about symptom management versus root cause investigation and elimination. But let's start with one of the most common things that Americans have in their medicine cabinets, which are NSAIDs, which stands for nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, like ibuprofen, acetaminophen. Ibuprofen is Advil and things like that, and acetaminophen is Tylenol. There's also naproxen sodium, which is known as Aleve, and some other brand names. And I put the brand names down there so that you could see them at the bottom. These are all about symptom management, right? It's meant to stop pain, reduce inflammation, which often is a cause of pain. Um, but it has some serious side effects if you're taking them long term or ongoing. So you can definitely damage your digestive tract, particularly the liver and the stomach. These things should never be taken daily. If you are to the point in your pain cycle that you are taking NSAIDs every day, you need to see a practitioner because that is too much. Pain is a signal from your body that something is wrong. And so you need to figure out with your practitioner what that wrong thing is and eliminate it, because NSAIDs every day are just not recommended, not good for you. And basically your body's yelling at you and you're putting on noise cancellation headphones. That's all you're doing, right? You're ignoring what your body is saying. It also can cause very minor digestive issues in the beginning, like gas and bloating. It can cause heartburn, which occasionally people have, but if you have ongoing heartburn because of NSAIDs, you can easily get GERD, which leads to esophageal cancer. We just don't want to take that risk, right? It does increase your chance for heart attack and stroke taking NSAIDs regularly. And it also can cause imbalances in the body. So dizziness, falling, lightheadedness, difficulty concentrating, brain fog. And so, it's just not recommended that you take these for all the time. Now, does that mean you can't take them ever? No, of course not. If I have a blazing headache and I need to be somewhere, I need to do something, I will take some ibuprofen to get me through. But what I need to do is figure out why I had the blazing headache. Was it a chemical reaction? I'm very sensitive to fragrances. Was it a weather headache where my sinus passages got inflamed? Do I need to take some herbal anti-inflammatories? Like, I need to figure out why I had that headache and be better at it the next time so it doesn't catch me off guard. So for pain, inflammation, fever, and cramping, which is what most people take NSAIDs for, there's a lot of alternatives. You could try essential oil roll-ons on a specific area. Some are made for headache, some are made for muscle strain. It depends on what kind of pain you're talking about. And anything that is underlined here, I have links to. So our aromatherapy at Haven Herbs is linked there, and herbal remedies for pain and inflammation. There's a lot of different kinds. Shown over there is the gripes, which is our NSAID replacement tincture, but we also have baths and soaks. We have food grade supplements like turmeric tea paste to make golden milk. There's a lot of different ways that you can reduce pain and inflammation. We have salves for sore muscles, for example, overexertion. There's just a lot of different ways that you can relieve these issues in a natural way. Botanicals, herbalism has lower side effects in the body because we use the whole plant, which has a wide spectrum of phytochemicals, whereas modern pharma extracts and then compounds, and it doesn't have the broad base of pharmaceuticals that we are meant to ingest. So it can cause side effects. So, for example, I make a golden milk paste called turmeric tea paste, and a lot of people take turmeric for pain and inflammation on a regular basis. But some people take curcumin, which modern biochemical medicine has determined is the reason why you would take turmeric for inflammation. Curcumin is the one phytochemical, and so they extract it from turmeric, they compound it, and they put it in capsules for you. But when you take curcumin without the rest of the phytochemicals in turmeric, it can often cause diarrhea. It's easy to overdo curcumin, Whereas turmeric, it's not as easy to overdo. So if you've already got a wonky digestive system, you're taking turmeric for inflammation, I would just recommend taking whole plant turmeric. And us herbalists know how to get the most out of our turmeric, right? We combine it with black pepper. So the piperine in the black pepper and the curcumin in the turmeric actually synergize together and make it more bioavailable to the body. So you don't need to take an isolate like curcumin. You can take turmeric with a little bit of black pepper. It's better for you. Your body recognizes it as food. It's not going to cause those digestive issues, et cetera, et cetera. So, let's talk about antibiotic ointments, right? Everybody seems to have it to deal with cuts and scrapes. It's a good idea to put antimicrobials on your cuts and scrapes because you don't want them getting infected, particularly if it's on your hands, right? And you're using your hands to do things, can easily get infected. But here's the problem with antibiotics is that we as a culture have overused them, and it has led to antibiotic resistance. Now, MRSA lives in hospitals, right? You go into the hospital for an unrelated issue and you can come out with MRSA, which is a life sentence, right? You get it and it lives in your body and it springs up here and it springs up there. It's miserable. But it also uses petroleum as its base, right? So whether it's a cream or an ointment, it uses petroleum as its, topical dispersant, like a lotion, a cream, an ointment. And petrochemicals are not good for you. You should not be putting petrochemicals in or on your body. I know we have for generations, but it's not healthy. Um, and people are starting to realize with the awareness around petrochemicals and microplastics that we don't want these things in our body. They cause health problems, fertility issues, autoimmune dysfunction. It's just miserable. So we want to use something that isn't based in petrochemicals. And again, because of overuse, they are less effective than some of our herbal remedies against bacteria, viruses, fungus. And so, what would you use instead? Well, lots of herbalists make an antimicrobial healing salve. Ours is called Boo Boo Balm. It is very effective. It doesn't contribute to antibiotic resistance. There are no petrochemicals in it. It is oils that have been infused with botanicals, hardened with beeswax, which in and of itself is medicinal. Um, and our Boo Boo Balm not only kills pathogens, but it also heals soft tissue. We have herbs in there for facilitating faster healing, and we have herbs in there to fight pathogens. And so it's a great alternative. I always have some on hand because I work with my hands. I'm going to get cuts and scratches. I have parrots and they're a little beaky sometimes. I have a 15-year-old child who's kind of rough and tumble. So Boo Boo Balm is a staple in our house and in our medicine cabinet. Proton pump inhibitors. Now, back in the day when I first started teaching this class, this was not included. But I will tell you that in the last decade, PPIs have become so commonplace on a daily basis, and that is a problem. 25% of doctor visits, primary care physician visits in the United States have to do with digestive issues. And this is the number one go-to. This is what is in a physician's toolkit. They tell you to start taking PPIs. There are prescription grade ones, and there are these over-the-counter ones, which used to be prescription. But here's the thing. They've never been studied for long-term use. And the doctor never tells you only take it for this long. They're just like, yeah, take some. But there are profound side effects for taking proton pump inhibitors in the long term. It decreases your bone density. And if you are a perimenopausal or a postmenopausal woman, you don't want to take that risk. It damages your liver. It can lead to bacterial infections in your gut and diarrhea. It can lead to deficiencies and malnourishment in certain kinds of vitamins and minerals. It can also affect your kidney and liver. And it has a high correlation. They haven't done the causal link yet, but there is such a high statistical correlation to people that take PPIs every day for more than a year to dementia. So let's figure out how we deal with your issue of acid reflux in a way that isn't going to cause bigger problems, right? Um, and my go-to is digestive bitters. Now, the reason that Americans have such a high incidence of digestive issues and other countries do not. I said 25% of doctor visits have to do with digestive issues. It's about 2% in Asia and Europe. And I'll tell you why. And, I'm an herbalist. I have a very specific perspective, but it's because we don't eat enough bitter things. In America, we avoid the bitter flavor. We equate it with bad, right? Oh, it's bitter. I don't like it. We need bitter. We actually have bitter receptors, not just on our tongue, but through the entire digestive tract, in our lungs, and in our brains. And when we consume bitter, it facilitates those receptors to prompt proper functioning, right? So, for example, your bitter receptors in the stomach prompt enzymatic and acid production. They prompt bile production in the liver. They prompt bile release in the gallbladder. They prompt enzymes and insulin to be produced in the pancreas. In the small intestine, as it receives bitter, it prompts the microvilli to start nutrient absorption. Basically, it primes your digestive pump and gets everything ready to receive food. So when I advise people to take digestive bitters, I advise them to take it 15 minutes before a meal, at least twice a day. And it replaces the foods that Americans are not eating, right? And every time I talk about bitters, there's at least a handful of students that say, "Well, what's a bitter food?" They have no idea because, again, Americans avoid them. We like sweet, we like processed, we do not like bitter. But in other cultures, they have bitter greens, bitter melon, bitter drinks. If you've ever been to Europe, often in the afternoon, people are sipping on Campari and soda, right? Like that is a bitter drink that they are drinking and it stimulates proper functioning. It's just a part of their culture. If you drink black coffee, that is a bitter. But if you sweeten it, that kind of takes away its efficacy. So there's a lot of things that are bitter. We just don't consume them in the United States. So this is replacing food. Now, digestive bitters is a two-part tonic. So it has the bitter part, which I've talked about. It also has the digestive part. So if you also suffer from gas, bloating, nausea, it is a great remedy to take for that. That's the digestive part. And I will tell you that digestive health, gut health, is the primary thing that I work on when people have digestive issues as well as others. Because when you tonify your digestive system, when you get it working properly, you also tonify the immune, endocrine, and nervous systems. The digestive system contains all of those connections to all those other systems. In Ayurveda, they call it building digestive fire, and it is the foundation of optimum health. So that's digestive bitters instead of PPIs. So eating healthy, which, I'm happy to answer questions about. That's not what this presentation is about, but I can answer questions about that. Taking bitters and slowing down when you eat. Don't eat really fast and like, oh, I only have 15 minutes to scarf down this before I have to go do that. Don't do that. Make time for food or prep your food in advance if you need to eat at your desk or eat on the road or whatever. But it's better to slow down and eat slowly. And it eliminates a lot of digestive problems. These three lifestyle things, these three changes can really impact digestive health in a profound way. Let's talk about allergy medicine, especially here in Ohio. Holy cow, everybody's got seasonal allergies in Ohio. I really did not until I moved here. And part of it is that much of Ohio is a basin and the cloud cover just sort of sits there and it locks in all the particulates, whether that's pollution or pollen or any number of things. And so we're breathing it in. And so hay fever type symptoms of congestion, sneezing, sore throats in the morning, postnasal drip, itchy, watery eyes, those are all allergy related, particularly if your mucus is clear. So if you're like, oh, I think I might be getting a cold, but you blow your nose and it's clear, that's an allergy response. That's a histamine response to something that is not a pathogen. When you have a pathogen and the mucus is trying to trap it and you're blowing it out and it's yellow or green, that's an illness, right? Um, but when it's clear, that's an allergy. So there are herbal antihistamines, herbal decongestants that work incredibly well, that will also stop your itching if you have itchy eyes, rather than taking over-the-counter medication. Um, so the one that I make is called allergies. It used to be called Ohio Allergies when I had Boline Apothecary because I was profoundly impacted by Ohio. But we call it allergies. And it helps. And I've listed here on the side some herbs that you can take in order to get rid of some of your symptoms, right? So stinging nettle, my very favorite antihistamine, and it's in allergies. Reishi is in there as well. You can also take eyebright or butterbur or oregano, and this is wild oregano we're talking about, or lemon balm. All of these things have antihistamine properties. For decongestants, a lot of people know about mullein. Mullein grows like a weed here in Ohio, and you would take the leaf. You can do it as a tea, you can do it as a tincture. Also, some of those spicier things like ginger, cayenne, mustard, and horseradish, those all have decongestant properties. If you are a fan of horseradish like I am, you know, sometimes it facilitates a little bit of nose blowing. And eucalyptus too. You can inhale eucalyptus and have it facilitate decongestion. For itch relief, plantain, not the banana, the actual herb, it grows in the cracks of the sidewalk, is fantastic for itch relief. I end up putting it in my no itch salve as well as my poison ivy and bug bite salve to stop itching. Myrrh and sea buckthorn, usually you get sea buckthorn as an oil, and jewelweed, which you can't get commercially. You have to know where it's growing. But that is the antidote to poison ivy as well as stopping itch. I love that stuff. And in my poison ivy and bug bite salve, it's jewelweed and plantain as the main stars. And I see that folks are putting questions in the chat. Thank you very much for that. I will get to Q&A, I promise. But let's talk a little bit about body care, because that's often what is in our medicine cabinets as well. And there are so many alternatives to commercially available body care that may or may not be great for you. If you're using a toothpaste that you buy at a big box store or a grocery store, chances are there's sodium lauryl sulfate in it. It's what makes it kind of foam up a little bit. You do not need it to foam up to make it effective. And sodium lauryl sulfate is one of those ingredients that is highly corrosive to flesh. It often causes canker sores in the mouth. But you know, people have been trained that their shampoo needs to lather up, their toothpaste needs to lather up to feel like they're getting clean. And that is far from the truth. You don't need that. I highly recommend tooth powders over toothpaste, because there's not, when you add liquid into a formula of any kind, it is prone to mold, because that's just how life works. And so when you do that and you make it a paste, depending on what's in the paste, you're going to need to add chemicals to keep it from molding. And fungicides are things that are sort of foreign to life, right? They're against life, they kill things. And so when you put that in your mouth, you're killing your microbiome in your mouth, which you need. And you're probably swallowing a little, so you're killing some microbiome in your stomach as well. Tooth powders don't need to do that. You can just switch to a tooth powder or one of those little tablets that you crunch up in your mouth and then you brush your teeth. And they're often packaged in glass or metal. You don't want to buy body care packaged in plastic. And if you buy it from a big box store, it is. It contributes to microplastics in your body. It's not good for you. It's not good for the planet. And so I highly recommend looking for products that are packaged in glass or metal. Deodorants too. If you're using a commercial deodorant with a big brand name, chances are there are parabens, even if it says no parabens on the label. Because here's the thing. Those companies don't want to have to pay. If they change their formula to eliminate the parabens, then they have to go through a whole other very expensive round of research and development and then submit it to the FDA for approval and rubber stamping. That's very expensive. It is much less expensive to pay for new packaging. And so what they do is they keep the formula the same, but they move their parabens into their fragrance category. In the United States, fragrance is considered proprietary and they do not have to disclose what is in their fragrance. They don't have to be smelly to be put in the fragrance. And that's what has happened, right? So you can say that it's paraben free as an ingredient if it's in your fragrance. Isn't that lovely? I love how this country works when it comes to things that are regulated by the FDA or not regulated by the FDA. So pit paste and pit sprays that aren't aerosol are much less toxic to your body. And they go a long way. The pit paste that I make comes in like a little tiny jar, but it lasts you several months because you're only using a little pea-sized amount in each pit. And I highly recommend pit paste over sprays touching your body because you want to feel if there are any lumps in there, right? Get familiar with your body so that you can assess anything that might be going wrong. Maybe you have stagnant lymph and your lymph is congested and one of your lymph nodes is swollen. I've had that happen and I went ahead as an herbalist and facilitated lymph drainage through dry brushing and some herbs and it went away. But what happens to the person that doesn't touch their body and they use a spray? They don't notice that this is happening until it is so bad that they need to go to a doctor and get it surgically removed, or they have a cancer scare. I highly recommend getting familiar with your body, making friends with your body, touching your body. Mouthwash is another one. Avoid Listerine. It's actually banned in Australia because it's connected to cancer. Excuse me. And there are easy rinses that you can either make or you can buy from me. Like I make a concentrate that's all natural. You just dilute it with an equal amount of water. It's dentist approved, actually. One of my former herb students in Columbus was a dentist, and I had him try my entire dental line. And he really especially loved the mouthwash. Lotion. Lotion is a big one that people buy from big box stores, and you get this massive bottle, and you never get to use it all before it gets all weird and thick. Comes in a plastic bottle and not a more sustainable one. And here's the thing: lotion, as a formula, is oils meeting liquids with an emulsifier, right? And so it bonds together to make like the creamy lotion. Anytime you add liquid, as I said, it has a chance of molding. And so there is a toxic stew in the commercial lotion that you buy. Fungicides, parabens, homogenizers, shelf stabilizers, because the lotion that you buy at that big box store is at least a year old. I don't know if you knew that, but they make it, they put it in the manufacturer's warehouse, then it goes to a distributor's warehouse, then it goes to a retailer's warehouse, then it goes to a big box store in the back, and then eventually it makes it to the shelf. By the time it does that, it's at least a year old. So how do you preserve a lotion that has liquid in it for that long before you even take it home? Lots of chemicals. And so I really wanted to be able to offer people lotion. It's a necessary thing for moisturizing, especially aging skin. And so I do it by pre-order and subscription. I give you a small monthly quantity so that I don't need to put in a bunch of preservatives. The preservatives that I use are full of probiotics. which kill fungus and bacteria, but is actually good for your skin. It matches the microbiome on your skin. And so I don't have to use a lot of toxic preservatives, but I also want to get it to you fresh. So I make them once a month, and then I ship them out. But that's a whole thing that most big companies don't want to do, right? It's a labor of love for me. I do it that way because I want people to have access to non-toxic products, but most companies don't do that. So even natural lotions that, greenwash themselves, you really want to know what's in them. If you can't pronounce it, I would avoid it. And if it says fragrance or parfum on the ingredients, walk on by, because chances are it's full of stuff. And if it's packaged in plastic, it's full of plastic, which is going to get into your skin and into your body. Facial cleansers and treatments. There are so many ways to cleanse your face in a natural way. There are oils, cleansers, there are natural exfoliants, there are natural masks that are dry and you hydrate them yourself for treatments. There's serums that you can use that don't have a lot of chemicals in them. I make a full facial line. Feel free to ask about it. And then acne treatments. I have spot treatments. I have full masks. And then I also have internal liver cleansers that help to cleanse the liver, because when the liver stagnates with a bunch of waste that it can't purge, then eventually it makes its way to the skin. The skin is sort of the last organ of elimination. And so I often couple any issues that I see with clients in the skin with liver cleansing. So you don't have to just buy stuff. You can also make stuff, and then you know exactly what went into your product. I've linked here. I'm going to send the deck to people because there have been a lot of links throughout the presentation. And here are some resources in case you want to make your own. These are ones that I personally like. There are others, but these are vetted by me, if for what it's worth. So Mountain Rose Herbs, you can see they're in all three categories. They sell botanicals, they sell butters and oils and other ingredients for body care. They sell essential oils, and they're all really well made. You can also go to Star West or Bulk Apothecary or Plant Therapy for ingredients that I think are really phenomenal. And if you want to do some research on the stuff that's already in your house, Environmental Working Group has databases. They have the Skin Deep database, as well as one on sunscreens. They're the ones who publish the Dirty Dozen on pesticides in US produce, as well as the Clean 15. They're fantastic. All their resources are available for free. Safecosmetics.org also has a great database for things that might be in your home. And if you're looking for recipes, the blogs on Herb Rally and Mountain Rose have such fantastic recipes. They do a really good job of promoting DIY, because honestly, that's the only way you're going to know what is absolutely in your food and in your body care. So yeah. So I am Lily from Haven Herbs, and you can always come and see what we have to offer. We do classes all the time, not just for cancer support community, but in person as well as online courses. And I answer questions all the time. So if you don't get your question answered here, I see that we have 8 of them, or you think of a question after the fact, just email me, Lily, Lily, at havenherbs.com. And I am happy to always answer your questions. But let's go ahead and make sure that we make some time for Q&A. Let's see. Okay. So the first one says, I've read that turmeric should not be taken with aromatase inhibitors. That is correct. There are other anti-inflammatories that you can take, but turmeric is one of those that has complications. So herbs and plants have chemicals just like pharmaceuticals, and some of them play nice and some of them don't. So yes, you are correct in that. The next question, and if you have a follow-up question, just go ahead and put it in the chat or whatever, or you can unmute. I think you're able to unmute. I'm not sure. Is Boo Boo Balm good for sunburns and diaper rash? Have used a lavender salve. So number one, I wouldn't use essential oils on babies that are still wearing diapers. Essential oils are incredibly potent, and it's really easy to overdo it. Lavender is the one that most aromatherapists say, like, yes, you can use that on babies, but honestly, I wouldn't. There's no reason to when you have herbs. There are all natural diaper creams that I would use. The one that I make has some of the common ingredients with Boo Boo Balm, but it also has zinc oxide to help coat the butt, because often when babies first start eating foods, their poop is really acidic, right? Especially fruits and things like that. And it can cause a breakdown of the skin if they end up having prolonged exposure to that poo. So you want something that really coats. And a salve can be good for coating, but you have to use a lot of it. Diaper cream is meant to be thick, and I would highly recommend using an all natural diaper cream. Mine is called yellow butt because the zinc oxide makes the paste turn yellow. I'm not sure why, but that's chemistry for you. Sunburns, I would say using a sunburn based cream, like you can use a burn cream for sunburns. Boo Boo Balm is something for cuts and scrapes specifically. I do have a burn cream that I call Baker's Balm, but I also seasonally make a sunburn cream that I highly recommend keeping in the fridge because then it adds like the cooling effect to it, called Disco Inferno, because it's for burns, baby. Burns. Yes. And I used it this summer because, like a fool, I went to the lake and forgot my sunscreen. And I was like, I'll be fine. And man, did I get a burn. So Disco Inferno helped me out a lot. It was painful. All right. So do bitters help people with gluten and dairy issues? What helps people with gluten and dairy issues is not consuming gluten and dairy. There is no magic bullet that will allow you to eat things that your body rejects. Like your body is telling you, I do not like these things. Please do not give them to me. And so while our culture makes it a little hard to avoid dairy and gluten, that is what you need to do. Digestive bitters helps facilitate proper digestion and functioning. But if your body does not like gluten, does not like dairy, yeah, I know it's hard, especially in the Midwest, dang it. Everything has cheese in it. Um, but yes, bitters helps with proper digestive and digestive functioning. But yeah, you'll need to avoid things that cause you discomfort and pain and symptoms. Can you take allergies if you are taking allergy shots? Yes, although um, if you are planning on weaning off of pharmaceuticals, I highly recommend like working with a practitioner to make that happen so that you don't put yourself into, a self-made health crisis. Um, so, if you want to do that, you can reach out to me. We can set up an appointment and we can talk about what those goalposts are. But I highly recommend doing it with care, with someone who's doing case management. There's a search document. I don't know what that means. I probably is something on your computer, Darlene. But what did you say causes canker sores? So I was talking about toothpaste, and it's sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium laureth sulfate. There's a bunch of different ways that it appears on a label: SLS, SLES. Sometimes they use the acronym. But yes, it causes canker sores. It also causes dandruff. It's so funny. They put SLS in dandruff shampoos because it makes the lather, but it actually causes dandruff. So there you go. Is hydrogenated castor oil dangerous? I don't like hydrogenated oils, hydrogenated oils, um, just because they're not naturally occurring lipids. I prefer expeller pressed oils to oils that have been chemically altered or oils that are solvent extracted. I wouldn't put them in my body, so I'm not going to put them on my body. That's just my preference. I've heard that stinging nettles should not be taken by those trying to avoid hormones. For example, yes, for breast cancer. Stinging nettles, not so much. No, they don't have phytoestrogens in stinging nettles. There are definitely things that you should avoid if you're on an estrogen avoidant diet. I'm happy to send you a handout. I'm going to put my uh, email in the chat so that people can copy paste it. If people have further questions beyond what the scope of this particular um, session is about, I'm happy to answer questions, give handouts. I have a whole article on how to get off of PPIs, for example. Yeah. So what would I recommend for arthritis issues? Can you clarify, is it rheumatoid or osteoarthritis? Because they are different beasties. If this is your question, it's Christy's question. Would you let me know which one? And we've got a few more minutes, so I'm happy to answer any more questions above and beyond what's there. I see Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. So osteo or rheumatoid. So osteoarthritis is the kind of arthritis that's caused by joint degradation and bones rubbing against each other and degrading. A lot of times, you know, it's a lack of cartilage, a lack of fluid. Okay. Um, so have you had any, Christy, have you had any blood work for autoimmune markers at all? Okay, lack of cartilage. So that's osteoarthritis, and often it comes with age, right? Especially if we injured ourselves earlier in life, we were fine and resilient for a while. And then as we age, like those areas that were injured, especially joints, because they're, you know, they're weak parts of our body, right? Where weakness can easily occur. So there are supplements that you can take that will help build more fluid, help to generate cartilage. And one of them, which you should be using with the help of a practitioner, is comfrey leaf. You can do infusions of comfrey leaf on the regular, like maybe a 16-ounce quantity over the course of a day. That should be fine. If you overdo comfrey, it can, you know, cause some issues, but that amount should be fine. Their Solomon seal is really fantastic at helping joint issues. Yes, comfrey, C-O-M, whoops, F-R-E-Y, comfrey. Solomon seal is really fantastic for joint issues. I use that in one of my salves that we apply topically for joint issues. Um, yes, yep, early injury. Yeah, that happens. I have a skateboarding injury in my left knee from when I was a teenager, a rebellious teenager riding her skateboard around town. Yes, it can definitely happen and then catch up with you later. I have friends that were athletes or dancers and they overdid it in their early years, and now they're, you know, millennials, but they have had knee replacement surgeries and all kinds of stuff. It's terrible. So yes, joint issues caused by cancer medicines. So you still want to strengthen and build up the tissues in those joints. So a lot, regardless of whether it's age or injury or medications that caused your issue, you're still gonna get to that root cause of building up those joints. So if you can take turmeric, definitely do it. I actually use my turmeric tea paste to make golden milk, and if I use it as creamer in my coffee every morning. And when I don't use it, I start feeling the crunchiness in my fingers and the cracking in my knees, especially that one. So I do turmeric on the regular. I am not on a pharmaceutical that prohibits it, so you bet I'm doing it. And I also do things when I overdo it. So I've been on a maintenance regime for a while. Here's the thing about herbalism. You can take it for an acute, sudden issue, like a headache or the cold or a flu or pain, but it works even better as a wellness, like taking tonics that help build systems that are more resilient and strong. So I know I have joint issues. So I've been taking the golden milk on the regular, and I will tell you, I am very functional. I get up on Saturday morning at 6:30 and I erect a tent and I lift a table and I do all the things to get ready for my farmer's market. I do all of that at age 55. I garden, I'm functional, and I haven't always been this way. In earlier years, I had a work injury. I was on workers' comp for 2 years. I was in constant chronic pain. It took a lot for me to get out of that and into a functional space with lots of body work, lots of supplementation. But here I am. I am pain free. I am functional. I do what I want. And you can too. I promise you. So what I have on my website, and you know what, I'm going to write, Christy, I'm going to write a blog post about golden milk to answer your question, because a lot of people have that question. I sample it at the farmer's market every week and I sell the tea paste and I tell people how to do it. But yeah, I think maybe I should write a blog post about it. But it's very simple. The baseline is just a teaspoon of the paste. You put it in your milk of choice. The fattier, the better. If you can't do dairy, that's fine. I put it in soy milk every week. But you can put it in coconut milk. That's a really nice one. That's really yummy. Hemp milk, almond milk, whatever you like, or dairy milk. And you start there, and I use an immersion blender. I don't even heat it up, right? So the paste is 3 herbs that have been powdered, turmeric, ginger, and black pepper, suspended in honey, right? It's in honey, so it's a paste. And then you just use an immersion blender. It turns the milk this beautiful golden color. And then I put it in the fridge and I just pour it out into my coffee every morning. And that's how I get my dose, right? Who likes taking a bunch of pills all the time? I don't. So the more I can incorporate it into my life, and you can also cook with it, right? So instead of making golden milk with the paste, you can also put it in stir fries, stews. And if you think about herbalism as food, which it is, right? Plants are food. Um, then you can start incorporating all of this stuff into the food that you're already making, right? I make this product called Winter Wellness Soup Blend, which is like a little pouch, and you just stick it in soup or stew or chili that you're already making. And it helps you stay well in the winter. It's got a bunch of adaptogens in there, help you with cold weather, help you with if you get exposed to pathogens, like all of it. And so you just sort of incorporate it into your life. And that's the best way to use herbalism. But it works for the other stuff too, like, oh, dang, I got a headache. But yeah, that is what I would do. What was that called? What is that? I'm not sure what you mean. What was that called? Give me a little bit more. What I just mentioned, tonic herbalism. So what I'm talking about is tonic herbalism, strengthening your systems, making them more resilient, as opposed to remedies. Remedy-based herbalism works, but you're only getting part of the goodness of herbs, right? I want you to get the full benefit of staying well. Staying well is better than treating sickness, for sure. So let's all stay well together with herbs. For the winter. Yes, now I understand what you mean. It's a product called Winter Wellness Soup Blend. I'm actually waiting for a couple of the ingredients that I like to put in it. And then right now it's out of stock, but you can actually do a notify me when it's back in stock. Anything that's out of stock on my site, because it's a small batch herbal apothecary, you can click and just put in your email. And then as soon as the inventory goes above, 0, then you get an email saying, hey, guess what? It's available now. So I do that to make sure that people get what they need. But yes, it's called Winter Wellness Soup Blend. So you can put it in your soup. Yes. And oh yeah, great gift idea for the holidays for sure. And yeah, I will be teaching classes up here in Northern Ohio if you're interested in traveling for a whole bunch of like botanical based gift giving. I'm doing one called Winter Wellness in a Jar with like wellness remedies that get put in a little mason jar. So it's a really cute little way of giving a gift. I also, yeah, I do it for a living, but it's also a labor of love. So I often give things as gifts like that. Yeah. Um, any more questions? We have 6 minutes. All right. Well, I will be sending the slide deck to cancer support community. Like I said, there are embedded links in there for you to do research, like environmental working group and all the places to get DIY ingredients that I really like. Um, and I want to thank you for attending today. Let's see. I think next month, let me see what we're teaching in September. The topic is natural body care. So we'll take a deep dive on all the body care stuff and how to make your own. I'll be giving people recipes to try some stuff out and talking about some common ingredients that you want to avoid in commercially made body care. So that's what we're doing next month on the 23rd of September. Thank you for coming, everybody. Let's see.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Glad to see you all. Always great to do cancer support community. And feel free to email me if you have any additional questions. Lily, Lily, @havenherbs.com. Bye.